working here. And maybe a little bit about yourself.
Good morning. My name is Eric Vandewall. I'm the President and CEO of Joseph Brant Memorial Hospital. I've been working here for about 3 years. Married, have 3 sons, and we enjoy the outdoors, cottaging, and water sports.
Excellent. And one more time, can you just say your name and your position at the hospital?
My name is Eric Vandewall, President and CEO at Joseph Brant Memorial Hospital.
Perfect. Thank you very much.
What have been some of the major accomplishments that have been achieved?
Some of the major accomplishments that have been achieved at the hospital over the past 3 years include, one, we have a new strategic plan. The strategic plan sets the direction for the hospital for the next 3 years, and we have a fantastic plan that's focused on 5 things. First, focus on quality and safety. Secondly, focus on exceptional customer service. Third, we're focusing on inspired people and teamwork. Fourth, innovation. And fifth, leading performance. So a new strategic plan sets the direction for the organization. We have a new vision, compassionate care, exemplary service every time. We also have several accomplishments in the way of having a balanced budget for the past 3 years. And so after 2 years prior, having chronic deficits of $3.4 and $2.1 million respectively, I'm very pleased to say that we've now have a balanced budget. In fact, we've had modest surpluses for the past 3 years. Other achievements at the hospital include we've conducted a couple of quality and safety reviews. These reviews were essentially external experts who came into the hospital and gave us advice about how we can become better in quality and safety programs, resulting in better care and outcomes for our patients. And so we've implemented over 120 recommendations associated with those reviews. And that was reflected in becoming a fully accredited hospital. So in 2011, the hospital became accredited by Accreditation Canada, and we achieved the designation of accreditation with commendation. Other achievements of the hospital include having our redevelopment project approved, and I'll talk a little bit about that in a few minutes. This has been a significant achievement for the organization. The organization and our hospital has not seen any redevelopment since it was built in 1961. In fact, we have the same footprint today that we had in 1971. So you can appreciate how much Burlington has grown over the past 40 years, yet our hospital has not grown along with it. So this is a major accomplishment. Our project is approved. It'll be in excess of $300 million, and I'll talk to you more about that in a few moments.
Excellent. I'm going to tail slide this actually.
How was that, Gary?
All right, and roll it back. Just doing that so we can sync up visuals with our audio. And go ahead, Gary.
Okay. Can you tell us more about the vision for Joseph Brant Memorial Hospital?
Well, the vision for Joseph Brant Memorial Hospital is a very exciting one from my perspective. Our vision is to become a leading practice community teaching hospital. So what does that mean? Well, leading practices means that we are the best that we can be in providing services to our population. It means that we are going to be teaching here physicians to practice in the hospital, and teaching generally results in improvements in quality. So becoming a leading practice community teaching hospital is our vision, and once we become leading benchmark, we will strive to become a benchmark hospital. And I'll maybe just do that one line. I won't do the whole skit again. So it's very exciting that we're on the road to becoming a leading practice community teaching hospital. And once we become leading practice, we will then strive to become a benchmark hospital.
Go ahead, Gary.
What are the highlights of the redevelopment project?
Our redevelopment and expansion project is estimated to be approximately $300 million in total cost, and that was in 2010 dollars. The highlights of the project, it's very exciting. We're going to see expanded services in the areas of, first, we're going to see an expansion in the number of inpatient beds, so we'll have approximately 70 new inpatient beds. That's about a 30% increase in the number of inpatient beds that we have at the hospital today. We're going to have a brand new operating suite, so today we have about 6 operating rooms. Under the redevelopment project, we will then grow to having 10 full operating rooms. We'll also see complete renovations to our intensive care unit, and as well as expanded number of beds in our ICU. We will see renovations to diagnostics, laboratory, and support services, as well as renovations to our emergency department. So I'm very excited about the redevelopment project. It's a very significant project for this community. Again, lots of benefits in the sense of, one, we have a growing and aging population, and so we need to grow as a hospital to meet the needs of this growing and aging population. Because typically we'll see people needing more tests, more surgical procedures, more visits to the emergency room. So by expanding our hospital, we'll be able to meet the demands of future generations to come.
Fire away, Garrett.
What are the benefits of a redeveloped hospital for Burlington residents and the community?
The benefits of a redeveloped hospital are significant for our community. And first, redevelopment is critical for really three reasons. First, we have a growing and aging population. Secondly, our facilities are outdated and antiquated. And third, there are a lot of benefits for our community, which I'll go into in a moment. I wouldn't mind touching, though, on a growing and aging population, though, because it's really important to understand how significant the redevelopment is in this respect. I was really quite taken by the numbers for the Burlington area. By 2026, we're going to see a growth in the population group of 65 plus of about 38%. But what was really compelling to me was in the age group 85 plus, by 2026, we'll see growth of about 70%. So why is that significant? Well, we know that the aging population typically has multiple comorbidities. They have a lot of complex care needs, and they typically require more care. And so when we see a growth rate of over 70% in the 85 plus age group, people are living longer and they're going to require more care and more support. So that's one key benefit, is to meet the needs of our demographic growth. The second key benefit is around our outdated facilities. As I mentioned earlier, our facility was built in 1961, and we haven't seen a major expansion of redevelopment since 1974, I believe. Actually, I'm sorry, since 1971. So over 40 years, we haven't seen any major expansion. Our patient rooms are outdated, and so, for example, leading practices from the Ministry of Health says that we should have up to 80% of our patient rooms being private rooms. Today, we only have about 15% of our rooms as private rooms. And that's important from the perspective of infection prevention and control, as well as providing sufficient space for family members to stay close to their loved ones while they're in hospital and provide care and support. Similarly, none of the hospital areas in the patient areas are designed to be barrier-free. Barrier-free means essentially it's a standard under the Ontario Building Code which meets the needs of people with disabilities. So today, if you go in a patient room on 5 West, you'll see that one, the room is very small. Secondly, the doorway to the bathroom isn't large enough for a person who may be disabled to go into the bathroom in a wheelchair. In fact, the bathroom is so small it doesn't contain a shower, and it doesn't have enough space for a hand washing sink. So there's a lot of benefits associated with just updating our facilities to provide a more healing environment for our patients and our family members when they're in hospital. All of the new patient rooms will have bathrooms that are barrier-free, they'll have individual showers, and they'll be about 30% larger in terms of square footage. So that's just one example. Our surgical suites is another example. Our surgical suites today are probably about 2/3 the size of what they should be in terms of code. And so we're going to see surgical suites that are much larger, and they're going to be equipped with the most recent and up-to-date technology. Technology that supports minimally invasive surgical techniques. And this is key because this is where medicine is going. We're seeing more and more surgeries being done on an outpatient and day basis. And so to have minimally invasive technology to support the practice of our surgeons will mean better results for our outcomes for our patients, less time in hospital, and allow us to do more surgeries to meet the needs of a growing and aging population. There are other benefits associated with the redevelopment as well that aren't just limited to care for our patients, and that has to do with creating economic growth in the area of Burlington. So we estimate that there will be about 1,200 man-years of employment created by just constructing the new redeveloped hospital. And once we finish construction, we believe that there will be about 250 new jobs for staff positions here at the hospital to support the expanded services for our community. Another key benefit of our redeveloped hospital and our vision going forward is that we are going to become a leading practice community teaching hospital. And so in the area of teaching, we've been very fortunate to develop a partnership with McMaster University in Hamilton. And so McMaster University, our first step in teaching is that we're going to be formally teaching in the area of family medicine. Family medicine is important from the perspective of making sure that we have physicians in our community to support people staying healthy and well in the community, and also teaching physicians on practicing while they're in hospital. So one of the first steps under our redevelopment project will be to construct the new Halton McMaster Family Health Centre here on the site of Joseph Brant Memorial Hospital.
Go ahead, Garrett.
Has the province approved this project?
Yes, the province of Ontario has approved our redevelopment project, and in fact that was in August of 2011. There was a formal announcement, and we've received formal correspondence from the government stating that our project is approved to go to tender in 2013-14. Following that, there's been several other key approvals, so we've also been posted on Infrastructure Ontario's website, and we've now been assigned as a project to Infrastructure Ontario. They are a Crown corporation that's essentially being set up by government to execute major expansion projects, be that in hospitals, universities, courthouses, those types of things. And so our project has been assigned to Infrastructure Ontario, and in fact in the past 6 months we've received further support from the government in terms of receiving a grant for $22.5 million to support our continued planning and development of the plans to start construction in about, sorry, I'm going to stop there. Back up. We've also received further support from the government in the past 6 months in the form of a $22.5 million planning grant. This grant is critical for us to continue planning, to hire the design consultants that we need to hire to bring these plans to the point where they're ready to be tendered and then go to construction.
Excellent. Go ahead, Garrett.
What is the timing for this project?
The timing for our redevelopment project is essentially it's 2 phases. The first phase is to construct the Halton McMaster Family Health Centre and a new parking structure. That's phase 1. Phase 2 is the balance of the redevelopment project, which includes construction of over 70 new inpatient beds, 10 new operating rooms, a new intensive care unit, renovations to our emergency department, and expanded areas and renovations to diagnostics, laboratory, and other support services. That's phase 2. Phase 1 will be construction this January 2013. Phase 1 will begin construction this January in 2013. And so that's the construction of the Halton McMaster Family Health Unit as well as the parking structure. It's expected that that construction will be completed in about January 2014. Phase 2 of the redevelopment project will be starting right on the heels of that, and construction will start in December 2014 with about a 3.5-year time frame to completion. It's about 3 years or so because of the staging that's required, so we will be building a new inpatient tower, and then there'll be some decanting from the existing hospital into the tower, allowing us to free up space in the existing hospital to complete the renovations in the areas that I mentioned earlier under phase 2.
Excellent. Go. Go ahead, Garrett.
How is the project to be funded?
The redevelopment project is to be funded essentially through a cost-sharing formula with the province of Ontario. In broad terms, the province will pay about 2/3 of the total costs, and then it's up to the local community to raise the other 1/3 of the costs. What that means for the City of Burlington for this project is a local share of about $120 million. We've been very fortunate with the leadership of our civic leaders and City Council that City Council has committed to provide $60 million of the $120 million required for the local share. The other $60 million will be raised through our hospital foundation, through fundraising activities, major gifts, bequests, insurance policies. Sometimes stocks are transferred as part of estates, and we're well on our way to raising the remaining $60 million that's needed. In fact, we've raised about $12.3 million to date. That's significant in that that's the largest amount that the City of Burlington has ever raised for any philanthropic need, and we're just getting started. So we've raised about 20% of our local share requirement and are well on our way to raise the balance of the funds over the next 18 months.
How is the project to be funded?
So I'm just going to pick up on the last piece of that, Gary. The prior piece we'll keep. The local share plan for the redevelopment project is approximately $120 million. $60 million of that is being provided by the City of Burlington, and we're very fortunate to have the leadership and commitment of our civic leaders who've approved $60 million from the City of Burlington towards our local share of $120 million. Our foundation will be responsible for raising the remaining $60 million, and in fact, our foundation has raised over $12.3 million of that $60 million to date. That represents the largest and most significant philanthropic effort ever raised in philanthropic effort ever raised. Better change that one up. The local share plan for our redevelopment project is about $120 million. We've been very fortunate through the leadership of our civic leaders and our city council that they have committed $60 million of our local share of $120 million. The remaining $60 million will be raised by our hospital foundation. In fact, our foundation has raised over $12.3 million to date. That represents the most significant and largest fundraising effort ever in the City of Burlington, and we're just getting started. So we've raised over 20% of our remaining $60 million to date. Our campaign is just getting ready to launch, and we expect that we will have the remaining 40 or 80% raised in the next 12 to 18 months.
That's great. Rolling.
Will there be recognition opportunities for those who give to the campaign?
Those who give to the campaign, first we will be very appreciative of their generosity and their commitment to Joseph Brant Hospital. And in fact, we are very committed to ensuring that there'll be appropriate recognition for the generosity of those who give to our campaign. Recognition can take the form of signage, it can take the form of naming for opportunities for major structures in the redevelopment, naming of floors. There are a number of significant opportunities for major gifts, and we're really excited about our community raising the bar and stepping up in support of the hospital's redevelopment. Too much there, Gary, or?
No, that's fine.
Okay.
Yep.
All right. Okay, and whenever you're ready.
Why should people support the campaign for redevelopment?
It's very important that people support the campaign for redevelopment for a number of reasons. First, the investments that we make in our hospital today are for the generations to come, our family members, our grandparents, and our children. And so this is our opportunity as a community to see our hospital be transformed physically into the facilities that are needed to support leading practices and teaching in the suburban area of Burlington. So it's very important that we all come together, support the hospital, and achieve the vision of becoming a leading practice community teaching hospital.
Laying at the end there, so keep it rolling.
So I'm going to just cut it down a bit and then just thank people.
Sure.
Do a thank you.
That's appropriate, and I think try and hit the point of, we require the full community support.
Yes, okay.
And whenever you're ready.
It's very important that everyone in our community support the redevelopment of our hospital in contributing to the fundraising effort of our foundation. Together, we can raise the remaining funds that are needed to make our redevelopment project a reality. And why is this important? Well, it's important that we invest in our hospital to support generations to come and the generations of today. We know that we have a growing and aging population, and so I'm sure many of us have either parents who are aging in the community who will need the services of the hospital in the future, and we also want our hospital to be here to support our future generations, our children and their grandchildren. So it's critical that we all together support the redevelopment of the hospital to see the redevelopment become a success. I'd like to thank you for your commitment and your support.
Much better.
Keep it rolling, Nick. Tail slate.
Okay.
Feel it was necessary. And I'm going to tail slate this one at the end as well, Nick.
Go ahead.
So. And action.
In summary, I'm very excited about the future of Joseph Brant Memorial Hospital. We're transforming how we do business on a day-to-day basis. In fact, we're essentially getting ready in every program across the hospital to occupy our new and redeveloped and expanded hospital. So by the time our hospital is built, we'll have done the transformations necessary to see all of our programs become leading practice programs. Thank you very much for your commitment and your support, and thank you for your time today.
Yeah, test site.
Not sure if that was,
To the last one.
just let me collect my thoughts on it.
Okay. And rolling.
In summary, I'm very excited about the future of Joseph Brand Hospital. We are transforming our programs on a daily basis on our journey to becoming a leading practice community teaching hospital. With redeveloped facilities to support the work that's happening in the hospital, that's the recipe that sees our vision become reality and that we will become a leading practice community teaching hospital serving the residents of Burlington and surrounding area. I would like to personally thank you for your commitment and your support of our efforts, our redeveloped hospital, and for the future generations to come. Thank you. Kind of a redo again, eh?
And action.
I would like to encourage you to support the redevelopment and expansion of our hospital. Your leadership will inspire others to give, and I know that together we can achieve our goal of becoming a leading practice community teaching hospital. Thank you.
Perfect.
Test site.
Great. Short and sweet.
Beauty.